Good evening, and welcome to a meeting of the Chesapeake School Board. A printed agenda is available in the back of the room if you wish to follow the business items we'll be discussing this evening. Roll call, Dr. Smith.
Mr. Elijah Colon,
Here.
Miss Malia Huddle, Mr. Mike Lamonia,
Here.
Mr. John McCormick,
Here.
Mr. Norman Poole,
Here.
Mr. Daniel Stoller,
Here.
Mrs. Amanda Walker,
Ms. Walker is absent this evening.
Mrs. Kim Scott, Vice Chair,
Here.
Mrs. Angie Swigert, Chair.
Here. The next item is the adoption of the agenda. Does the superintendent or any board member wish to add or delete an item from the agenda?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have any amendments to add to the agenda, but we will need a closed session as required to discuss student matters, legal matters, and personnel matters.
I'll entertain a motion for approval. Moved by Ms. Scott. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Poole. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members present voting yes.
We will now go into the closed portion of our meeting. I'll ask Vice Chair Scott to read the language to take us into closed session.
Yes. Chair Swigert, I move that the board should convene in closed session pursuant to the Code of Virginia, Section 2.2-3711, subsections A1, A2, and A8, for discussion and consideration of personnel matters related to the performance of specific employees, student disciplinary matters, and consultation with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters.
Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Lamonia. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members present voting yes.
Before we move into closed session, and in accordance with Bylaw 2-33, we will need a motion to approve the remote participation of Sands Anderson attorney Nikki Chook, who will join us for the discussion in closed session. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Moved by Mr. Lamonia. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. McCormick. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members present voting yes.
We are now in closed session. Vice Chair Scott, would you please read the statement to bring us back into open session?
Yes, Chair Swigert, I move that the record shows that the only items discussed in the closed meeting were those specifically cited in the motion to convene into the closed meeting and those lawfully exempted from statutory meeting requirements.
Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Lamonia. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members present voting yes.
Dr. Cotton, do you have any items resulting from closed session?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. I recommend that student number 1 be expelled.
I'll entertain a motion for approval. So moved. Moved by Ms. Scott. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Poole. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members present voting yes.
Next, I'll entertain a motion regarding the appeal under School Board Policy 5-12.
In regards to the appeal of the superintendent's decision pursuant to School Board Policy 5-12, and in reference to Student 2, I move to support the recommendation of the superintendent.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Huddle. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members present voting yes.
There being no additional items resulting from closed session, we will now move on to the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, we will observe a moment of silence, and afterward, I will ask Carter Whitaker, a 5th grade student from Camelot Elementary, to lead us in the pledge. Please stand as you are able. Carter, please join us for the pledge.
Of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much to Carter and his family, and may I say Carter looks very sharp tonight. And thank you to his principal, Ms. Vaughn, for being here tonight as well. Thank you. Next, under awards and recognitions, is a donation from Economic Development. Dr. Smith?
Thank you, Chair Swigert. We are very excited tonight to celebrate quite a significant donation from Chesapeake Economic Development's office. Tonight, I'd like to invite Mrs. Andrea Vail, who is our Director of Engagement, to share a few special words about this donation.
It is my honor to be here to recognize Chesapeake's Economic Development Authority and Mr. Stephen Wright, the Director of Economic Development, who is unable to be here. Once again this year, Mr. Wright and his team have turned their annual charity golf tournament into more than a great day on the greens. They've turned it into an opportunity. The proceeds once again support the Chesapeake Public Schools Educational Foundation and more specifically, the J.A. Cotton Career Scholar Award. This award provides $1,000 to a deserving student from each Chesapeake high school to purchase the tools and supplies they need to launch directly into the workforce. Whether that's uniforms, certifications, equipment, or other essentials, these checks are presented each year at our Career Signing Day, a moment that celebrates our graduates' next steps with the same pride and fanfare as any college signing. This continued generosity strengthens the bridge between education and employment and shows our students that this community believes in them. Dr. Cotton and Ms. Swigert, would you please join me to receive this gift? $13,000, 630. Yep, there you go. Yeah, just right in the middle.
Let's give them another round of applause for that generous donation.
And I would certainly like to add on behalf of the board our thanks to Economic Development for their generous support of Chesapeake Public Schools. We will now move on to the hearing of citizens. Dr. Smith, are there any citizens who have requested time to speak this evening?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have 2 citizens requesting time.
During their allotted time, speakers should observe our rules of decorum and know that expression of concerns and criticism on matters of school policy and operations is welcome. However, speakers must deliver their own remarks and pre-recorded messages are not permitted. I want to thank those speakers who have signed up to address the board this evening. As a reminder, there are 2 ways that citizens can request time to speak at our meetings. You can call the clerk's office before 12 noon the day of the meeting, or sign up to speak in person prior to the start of the meeting. All in-person requests to speak must be submitted to the deputy clerk 5 minutes prior to the published meeting start time. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. Once your allotted time is over, we ask that you promptly exit the podium. We would also like to ask that you refrain from any behavior that disrupts the meeting, including the use of profanity, applause, cheering, or jeering. Dr. Smith, please call the first speaker.
Thank you, Chair Swigert. It appears that speaker number 1 is a no-show, so I would like to invite speaker number 2 to the podium. Speakers are called in numerical order and asked to state their name and city of residence before they begin.
My name is Mary Faith Williams, and I'm from Chesapeake and a Chesapeake teacher as well. Good evening, all. As teachers, we want nothing more than to give our best to our students every single day. But the truth is, the greatest support Chesapeake Public Schools and the school board can give us is not another initiative, another program, or another system. It's simply protecting the time and energy we already dedicate to teaching. This year alone, we were asked to learn a new Synergy emailing system that takes longer on both the sending and receiving ends, implement new Canvas requirements that the students rarely utilize, navigate a new pay system that launched with accuracy issues, adopt a new substitute request program, and juggle major clarity initiatives. Most of this was placed on us before we even had the chance to establish the rhythm of the class and meet our students. The reality is, too much at once doesn't just overwhelm teachers, it dilutes the very quality of instruction our students receive. If everything is a priority, then nothing is. By focusing on fewer and more meaningful initiatives, or better yet, start allowing us to have school years where we actually have no new burden placed on us, you allow us to pour our energy into what matters most: teaching, guiding, and inspiring the young people in our classrooms. So I ask you to consider a simple motto for our district moving forward: less on our plates, more for our students. Thank you.
This concludes our speakers for this evening.
Thank you for sharing your comments. Our practice is to receive information. However, we do not usually engage in dialogue, and that is our intent tonight. If appropriate and not already provided, someone from the superintendent's staff will evaluate your concern and provide a response. We will now consider the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Moved by Ms. Scott. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Poole. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members present voting yes.
We will now move to our information agenda. The first item tonight is the proposed school calendar options. Back to you, Dr. Smith.
Thank you very much, Chair Swigert. It is really hard to believe, but it is time for us to start talking about the academic calendar for the 26-27 school year. And I am pleased tonight to introduce Dr. Fallon Graham, our Director of Planning, Policy, and Research, who has prepared a presentation with two options for the board's consideration tonight. Dr. Graham?
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Swigert and Vice Chair Scott and members of the board. Tonight, I will present to you the 26-27 and 27-28 calendar proposal. For this year, our proposal looks a little bit different than in years past. Option A includes a post-Labor Day start for the next 2 years, while option B includes a post-Labor Day start for the 26-27 school year, but then a pre-Labor Day start for the 27-28 school year. So we have our reasons for including only one calendar for the 26-27 school year. The biggest reason is Labor Day is late in 26. This pushes back the start of the school year. It lengthens the summer, but it also shifts back the last day of school in June of 2027. Pushing back the last day of school would would have several implications. It would impact our graduation schedule, the start and end dates of the school year, start and end dates of summer school, our facility improvement and construction projects, any technology repairs and enhancements we plan on making, transportation route development, and this list doesn't even include everything that takes place when a majority of our students are not in the building over the summer. So then the next question is, why are we proposing 2 school years out? Providing that 2-year calendar provides our parents with advance notice for childcare arrangements, vacation planning, and work scheduling. This will also serve our employees by providing them with advance notice so that they can make informed decisions that rely on their work schedules. And we can enhance our operations, including transportation contracts, facility maintenance scheduling, food service planning, with a longer-term calendar visibility. Finally, why did we include a pre-Labor Day for 27-28? Labor Day, again, is late in 2027, similar to 2026. And while it's not enough notice to shift to a pre-Labor Day start for the 26-27 school year, we do feel like if we are proposing 2 years out, then we would have enough notice to make the adjustments needed to begin before Labor Day, starting in 2027. To outline our work, we have done a lot of research to create this proposal. We've compared our work to our neighboring districts that have published calendars. We conducted focus groups during the Get on the Bus event. From there, we developed a proposal, and we asked several school leaders and district leaders across departments to review the proposal and offer feedback. After today's presentation, we will open up a survey where we will ask the community to provide their feedback. And then I'd like to present the findings of the survey and request action during the November 17th school board meeting. When we conduct our calendar construction, we do this under several of Chesapeake Public Schools' guiding principles. We have the principles on the screen, but I'd like to highlight a few. We seek to align our winter and spring breaks with neighboring school districts who have published calendars. Each calendar that we're proposing has a winter and spring break that aligns with our local school districts who have their calendars out there already. We also reopen schools the first weekday after the New Year's Day observance. At the high school level, we really strive to balance each semester with 90 instructional days and also provide 2 teacher work days between semesters to give our teachers time to plan and switch since they're on that 4x4 block schedule. Each calendar varies slightly in how the semesters are distributed, but we came very close to an equal split. Each calendar also provides us 2 teacher workdays in between semesters to provide that planning time. And finally, we continue to embed additional planning time for our elementary teachers throughout the school year, and you'll see these elementary-only teacher workdays in all of the options. Just some additional considerations. We have virtual days, but I'd like to remind everyone that within the Code of Virginia, it only allows virtual and remote learning days to count in times where school is closed due to inclement weather or extenuating circumstances. So this means that if they're planned ahead of time and scheduled into the school calendar, then they cannot count towards our required instructional hours, and that's why you will not see any virtual instructional days embedded into our calendars. We also have done away with a number of our early dismissal days. We want to reduce the burden on our families that those early dismissal days cause, especially for our elementary school families. We have maintained an early dismissal day in all options prior to the 2-day Thanksgiving breaks. And we also have early release days on our graduation days so that we can help facilitate the on-time arrival to the ceremonies for our entire community. So now I'd like to dive into what each option includes. For 26-27 calendar, we have learned time and time again that starting after Labor Day is very important to our community. So you'll see that for 26-27, we begin the first day of school after Labor Day. Thanksgiving break will begin with an early dismissal on November 25th, and then the break will extend through November 27th. Winter break will begin on December 23rd, and it ends January 3rd, which spans across 8 weekdays. Our spring break will take place March 29th and extend through April 2nd, and school will end on June 17th for our students, with the last day of graduations and a teacher workday taking place on June 18th. Again, we were very limited in creating additional calendar options due to the position of Labor Day within the month and the conditions set by our guiding principles, state mandated time requirements, and the desire to not end school incredibly late in June. But when we get to 27-28, we do have 2 calendars. They do have different start dates. You'll see one begins after Labor Day, the other one begins before Labor Day. This Thanksgiving break is the same in both options, but you will see a difference in the start date and the length of winter break in the post-Labor Day option compared to the pre-Labor Day option. And spring break is the same in both calendars, but then again, you'll see a change in the end date between the 2 options. So to gather feedback from our community, we have a survey that's open now, and it will remain open through Sunday, October 19th. The survey is posted on our website, and it's going to be shared with our families through district-wide communication channels. This presentation, as well as a draft of the calendar options, will be linked into that survey to assist participants with their decision. And we will present again the feedback that we receive on November 17th at that school board meeting. Do you have any questions or concerns?
My only concern is that we may be ready to vote on the 17th, but receiving the results of the survey and then being ready to vote, that may not be a fact. We may have to push that to the December meeting in order to properly digest the results, depending on what those results are, especially if there isn't a runaway answer provided by the public, which is what we generally
Sure.
tend to try to use as our guiding force more than anything else.
Absolutely.
But sometimes this comes closer to 45-55 instead of 80-20, and if
Yeah.
that's the case, we may need more time. So if we can kind of build in a contingency plan on your timeline, I think personally that might be beneficial.
We can definitely do that.
Great. Any other, Mr. McCormick?
Quick question. I know you had mentioned that there's not a pre-Labor Day option for the 26-27 because it's too late to consider that. Why exactly is it too late to consider that?
We have a lot of projects already in the works and being planned for this summer, including some new school construction. So if we shift to that pre-Labor Day start, it's going to cut into the summer and it's going to really impact those projects that we were relying on completing this summer. And then that shifts our summer school as well, and it just really has a severe impact on all the work that we tried to plan and get done this summer that is already being planned out.
And just to clarify, I
Yeah.
just want to make sure I understand. So those are projects that would go into late summer? You say it would cut into that? Have we looked at whether those contractors can start earlier?
We can't start until school lets out, and the contractors have planned up right until the beginning of the school year, kind of counting on that we were going to start after Labor Day.
Mr. McCormick, I can add to that. We had talked about pre-Labor Day start, but we had recommended not starting the next year, giving a year's notice for that reason, because we do have summer projects that have to be completed, and we would have to back those up considerably in order to get those accomplished. And Paige can speak to this a little bit more, but we had a concern about that. And then in addition to that, our community did not vote favorably for a pre-Labor Day start as well. If you all remember, we did a survey last year. So again, if the board feels strongly about offering a pre-Labor Day start, we don't recommend that just because we feel like we have to have enough notice in order to prepare for that, because it significantly shortens the opportunity to get summer work done, because a lot of work has to get completed while the students are not, and the staff are not in the buildings. And in order to get that accomplished, we need the summer, and when we do that, it's going to significantly, it may not seem like a lot, but it significantly shortens the summer because your new staff members have to report in the middle of August. You're going to have your returning staff reporting the end of August. It's going to really shorten our time to get work done in our buildings. Paige, I don't know if you want to add to that or not.
Yeah, Dr. Cotton, you're correct. You know, we tend to, at least from an operational side of things, as the kids are walking out the door, we're coming in right behind them, tearing things up. And I think that goes for technology as well. So we have a lot of summer projects, and everybody might think a week doesn't make a difference, but a week can make a whole lot of difference between whether or not the building is ready or not. Particularly some contracts that we already have in place that were a two-phase summer. As an example, they already have a substantial completion date for the following summer. And so we would have to alter the contracts. It's not just, you know, we need the time, but we also have given contractors till X to finish projects. So if we shorten that, that's going to cost money for us to do that, and there's actually no guarantee that they'll also be able to do that, because again, we've signed a contract that's given them X time to finish the project. So for ones that we have two phases already in place, quite honestly, some of the work that we require HVAC in particular and roof contractors to do in one summer is amazing. It's a significant amount of work. The same thing for Dr. Faust's group, and who he contracts out with. The amount of work that we do is in a short period of time, and our contracts are let out. And if we're going to have a short summer, we need to be able to plan the projects for that short summer and figure out what we can and cannot get done.
I think in addition to that, I just add, just as a small note, but it is an additional note, even when you have these projects that are completed, say, early to mid-August, there is still a whole nother phase that comes behind many of them, not all, where our janitorial staff and our administrative staff have to come back in the building and put it back together after whatever project might have been taken on. So there's those big maintenance projects are one component, but not the only component, because they're often, a domino effect of things that have to also happen once those projects are completed in order to be ready for the first day of school. Were you getting ready to ask another or make a comment?
Yeah, just had a
Go ahead.
follow-up comment on it. I guess two concerns. One, I know the survey is overwhelmingly and consistently over the past couple of years preferred a post-Labor Day start, but I don't think any of those surveys were in the context of such a late Labor Day, placement in September.
Yeah.
And so the concern I would have is whether the survey would look different in that context. I don't know, if it would look different, especially given, such a late June end date. Would the survey shift and become pre-Labor Day versus post-Labor Day? And if it is, it'd be interesting to know that, sooner than later. Two, with such a late Labor Day start, how many instructional days are we losing before SOL tests? Because SOLs are typically, I think in early June or late May. And so are we losing, 10, 12 instructional days prior to SOLs that could be helpful? And should we, consider that in deciding with such a late pre-Labor or late Labor Day placement
Yes.
of whether we need to consider, just for instructional purposes, a pre-Labor Day start?
I can answer the testing question. We get a window for testing, so we're able to adjust that window based on our end date. So typically, and I'm looking at my testing folks who will be up here shortly, so we do have we can adjust that and move that back. So as far as the other question goes, I will tell you that the reason that we went so late this past year, as well as the current year that we're in, is because our community wanted to start after Labor Day, and they wanted a more extended break. They wanted the 10 days for winter break. They wanted the 3 days for Thanksgiving, and that pushed us well into June, if you remember, last year as well as this year. However, I haven't checked, but I don't think the attendance has been great for the last couple days of school at the very end of the school year, because those 2 days kind of moved into a new week.
Yeah.
Which was problematic
Shifted
as
to a Monday,
well.
Tuesday, rather than a Wednesday, Thursday.
But certainly, Mr. McCormick, we are gathering data not only from the calendar that's proposed. I think we directly asked the question, do you want to start before Labor Day? And I would also say that Dr. Graham was at the Get on the Bus event surveying parents and students, and overwhelmingly, I think the sentiment was to start after Labor Day. Am I correct?
That's correct.
But we are going to gather feedback, sir, and we'll certainly consider that when we get that feedback from our survey.
I see no additional questions at this time, Dr. Graham. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda this evening is the accreditation update. Dr. Joppi?
Good evening, Chair Swaggart, Vice Chair Scott, members of the board, Dr. Cotton, and cabinet members. This evening, I'm pleased to provide reminders regarding the new performance and support framework, along with an update on the data currently available to us and the status of the information that we're still awaiting. As you are aware, the Virginia Board of Education adopted a new accreditation and accountability system. And at our August 11th board meeting, we shared how the new system has split what's known as accreditation into two areas, accountability and accreditation. And as you know, this significant change makes comparing this year's accountability to last year's accreditation impractical. Although school performance reflected in the updates to the school quality profiles may be similar to past year's accreditation, these measures do not impact the determination of accountability schools will earn from this year forward. The old accreditation and accountability system focused primarily on student proficiency as measured by standards of learning, SOL test scores. Accreditation was largely determined by whether schools met minimum pass rates on these standardized tests. In contrast, the new accountability system incorporates multiple indicators such as student growth, chronic absenteeism, graduation rates, achievement gaps, and readiness for college, career, and civic life. Additionally, accreditation is a measure of the district's compliance with state and federal regulations. Because the two systems use different metrics and priorities, comparing data between the two is not a true apples-to-apples comparison. What constituted success or failure under the old system may not align with how performance is measured and understood under the new framework. And now at this time, I'd like to introduce our Director of Assessment and Accountability, Ms. Danielle Henderson-Jones, who will share an update on the data that is currently available and details regarding the data we're still awaiting.
Good evening, Chair Swigert, Vice Chair Scott, members of the board, Dr. Cotton, and cabinet leaders. Thank you, Dr. Joppi, for reminding us of the new accountability and accreditation systems. I first want to begin by celebrating our successes based on the current data that we do have available. Our preliminary pass rate data shows our students exceeded the state average in all subject areas. As a reminder, these pass rates are a part of the accountability rating assigned to our schools under the mastery component of the Student Performance and Support Framework. Throughout my presentation, I will go into more detail how these pass scores play a role in the final accountability rating. Currently, we are still awaiting the final reports from the Virginia Department of Education that will give us a clear picture as to how our students performed on the 2025 administration of the SOL assessments. The reports that will be provided by the VDOE will give us data on how the Division of Schools performed on the indicators and performance categories included in the School Performance and Support Framework, as well as if there are any schools with federal identification for improvement. Let's visit the components of the framework that will impact all of our schools. All of our schools will receive a framework score in the areas of growth, readiness, and mastery for elementary and middle schools, graduation, readiness, and mastery for high schools. All schools will also receive a performance category. Each school will receive a framework score that can range from 0 to 100. Due to the implementation of the 3E framework, there is a possibility for our high schools to earn more than 100 points. Each school will also be given a performance category. The performance categories are distinguished, on track, off track, and needs intensive support. There may be a select number of schools that meet the criteria for federal identification. Those classifications are comprehensive support and improvement schools, targeted support and improvement schools, and additional targeted support and improvement schools. It is important to note that schools with a federal identification of TSI or ATSI will have their performance category lowered by 1 level. Now let's briefly revisit how the indicators are weighted within the School Performance and Support Framework. For elementary, schools' mastery is weighted at 65%, growth 25%, and readiness 10% of their framework score. For middle schools, mastery is weighted at 60%, growth is 20%, and readiness is 20% of their framework score. Lastly, for high schools, mastery is weighted at 50%, readiness 35%, and graduation 15% of their framework score. The points received from the framework score will determine the school's overall performance category. Schools that earn 90 points and higher will be in the distinguished category. Schools with 80 to 89 points will be in the on-track category. Schools with 69 to 75 points will be considered off-track. And schools with below 65 points will be considered needs-intensive support. Earlier in this presentation, Dr. Jobby reminded us that the new accountability and accreditation system has separated the components of accountability and accreditation. Under the Virginia accreditation system, accreditation focuses on whether a school or a district meets professional standards of practice through an external evaluation process. It emphasizes inputs, institutional capacity, and compliance more than student outcomes. The Virginia Standards of Accreditation, or SOAs, are designed to assure that an effective educational program is established and maintained at all Virginia's public schools. The SOA provides an essential foundation of educational programs of high quality in all schools for all students. It encourages continuous appraisal and improvement of the school program for the purpose of raising student achievement. It also fosters public confidence and ensures recognition of Virginia's public schools by other institutions. It lastly establishes a means of determining the effectiveness of schools. There are 3 possible accreditation designations that can be assigned to schools. Schools can either be fully accredited, conditionally accredited, or accreditation denied. The first designation is fully accredited. This designation is awarded when all required evidence is submitted to VDOE and is satisfactory and approved for compliance. The second designation is conditionally accredited. This designation is awarded when any piece of required evidence is submitted to VDOE and is determined to be unsatisfactory or non-compliant. It remains in non-compliant status until successful submission of additional evidence is provided and deemed to meet the condition. And the last designation, which is accreditation denied, which is awarded when the school is designated conditionally accredited and the school or school division fails to submit the required additional documentation. Accreditation designations are effective for the accountability year of 2025-2026 based on evidence from 2024-2005. For this accountability year, Dr. Cotton certified through the VDOE Standards of Accreditation report that all schools within CPS were implementing the Standards of Accreditation. However, moving forward, the process will change. In addition to the superintendent certifying the implementation of the Standards of Accreditation for the division at large, each school principal will also document and report implementation of the Standards of Accreditation to the Department of Education. Leading up to more upcoming changes. Previously in this presentation, I did mention that we are still awaiting data reports from VDOE. However, there are also quite a few new items going into effect for the 25-26 school year. The first being new SOL pass rate cut scores. In September 25, the Virginia Board of Education approved a set of elevated academic expectations for K-12 students. Per VDOE, this was to ensure proficiency standards align with national benchmarks and reflect true mastery of the more rigorous academic standards previously adopted. To support the implementation of the new cut scores, the VDOE will host input sessions with parents, teachers, principals, superintendents, and school board members throughout October to inform the final implementation plan. They will conduct division impact reviews, provide professional development and supports, offer opportunities for parent and community engagement through a communications toolkit, and monitor and make adjustments throughout the implementation process. In conclusion, as our district reports become available, we will continue to keep you and all stakeholder groups aware of our accountability status. We'll also continue to provide updates regarding the implementation of the new cut scores. Thank you. Do you have any questions for me and my team who is with me this evening?
I don't see any questions at this time, and I know we're looking forward to the rest of the data coming in as much as you guys are, so we'll looking forward to hearing from you again soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The last item on the information agenda tonight is an update on transportation. Dr. Faust? I was like, where did he go?
Good evening, Chair Swigert, Vice Chair Scott, school board members, Dr. Cotton, cabinet members, and everybody who has joined us here this evening. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight to share an update on the Department of Student Transportation and the implementation of our new software platform, TransFinder. Our implementation efforts have spanned the past 9 months, resulting in significant operational shifts for our division. Our new platform, TransFinder, is recognized as an industry leader, used extensively by more than 2,000 school systems in 47 states, and its solution enables us to provide safe, efficient, and cost-effective student transportation. When we started this undertaking, our vision was clear. It was guided by 4 paramount objectives. Goal 1, to improve bus route efficiency, and we are achieving this through route optimization, using TransFinder software to reduce travel times, monitor fuel consumption, and improve punctuality. Goal 2, to obtain true student ridership data. Our work is also focused on accurately tracking student attendance to inform scheduling and resource allocation, aligning our services with actual demand. Goal 3, to streamline communications. Through our work, we are focused on implementing robust channels for real-time updates, efficient information exchange between drivers, dispatchers, parents, and schools. And Goal 4, to improve customer service. We remain committed to elevating customer experience by providing accessible information, timely feedback, and empowering all CPS staff. Through these goals, we are providing more efficient, data-driven, communicative, and customer-centric service. TransFinder is more than just a piece of software. It is actually an integrated suite of solutions designed to provide safe, efficient, and cost-effective student transportation. The core of the system is the routing and scheduling engine managed by our GIS routing team called RouteFinder. RouteFinder helps our routing team to perform the essential foundation work necessary for all other applications to function properly. The GIS routing team manages routing and scheduling with RouteFinder. They create trips, runs, stops, boundaries, and process student and route adjustments, ensuring data integrity. Wayfinder empowers drivers with an in-vehicle application, offering turn-by-turn directions, audible instructions, student ridership tracking, and real-time handling of vehicle driver substitutions. Viewfinder supports our school staff, administrators, secretaries, principals, and provides real-time access to vital bus information like student attendance, late vehicle status, trip status, and GPS data. And finally, StopFinder. Now, StopFinder allows CPS to connect all of this critical work with our families, delivering real-time access to information on CPS buses. Nearly 40,000 subscribers now receive geo alerts, receive notifications, communicate with schools, and utilize our bus GPS technology. By implementing the full suite, we can ensure that every stakeholder, from the GIS team to drivers to school staff and parents, has the right tools to achieve our goals of safety, efficiency, and communication. TransFinder offers an integrated suite of solutions for safe, efficient, and cost-effective student transportation, providing tailored tools for all of our stakeholders. RouteFinder is, the scale of work being completed by our GIS routing team and departmental staff over the past months, especially since the start of school, has been immense, and they really deserve more recognition than I could possibly achieve here. Consider these metrics, highlighting the work and dedication which represent just a 30-day window between August 25th and September 25th. 1,946 trips and runs were created in the system. 21,867 stop boundaries were created. 396 daycare alternative sites, basically, for drop-off and pickup were created. And we solved and closed approximately 1,000 tickets and help requests coming in from our customers. This volume of work speaks directly to the dedication of our transportation leadership and every member of our staff who adapted to this complex new system in a very short amount of time. One of our most significant successes is found in the adoption of StopFinder, which allows parents to receive real-time data on student route information, bus information, arrival, and attendance notifications. StopFinder utilizes the GPS technology already on our buses to enable geo-alerts for parents to receive a push notification when the bus is near or on its way. We have sent 60,000 invitations out to parents through Synergy on August 27th. As of September 25th, we had 39,623 active subscribers. We also send new invitations weekly to people that still aren't in the system. And this tool allows us to know it allows parents to know the schedule, to receive info on buses, to receive push notifications, and know exactly when their children arrive at school or home. We've already experienced great improvements in our communication. Since the first day of school, 716 announcements have been sent. On just one day, September 25th, we sent 22,182 different geo alerts and 68,290 attendance alerts to parents. The StopFinder solution is just one tool that helps us deliver on our commitment to improve customer service. Wayfinder helps our drivers to identify students by stop, provides audible turn-by-turn directions based on planned route data, and includes includes features for tracking daily student ridership, including the use of our student ID cards and card readers. Here are a few of the key features of Wayfinder. Effortless navigation. Our turn-by-turn navigation isn't just about getting from point A to point B. It's built on pre-approved routes, offering a clear, spoken directions, and Wayfinder does allow for on-the-fly adjustments, keeping CPS transportation and our routes both agile and efficient. Intelligent student management, beyond just getting them to school, Wayfinder helps CPS track the student's daily ridership and ensure that every student gets where they need to go. We have dynamic route and vehicle management. When a vehicle needs to be swapped or a driver changes, Wayfinder empowers us to manage these substitutions effortlessly, communicating crucial changes in real time to all the people who need to know. We also invested heavily in preparing our bus drivers for using Wayfinder. Every bus driver attended a half-day training session during the summer. We supported all drivers with logins and technical support, and piloted the app during our summer school to begin to identify any known issues with adoption. As part of the adoption, additional training was provided for our lead drivers to offer ongoing support for all other drivers. Now, we recognize that improved service requires equipping our school staff with the right tools. Viewfinder is a real-time application providing our school-based staff quick access to important bus information. With Viewfinder, administrators, secretaries, and principals can view student attendance, ridership records, late vehicles, StopFinder parent activity, trip status, and even vehicle GPS information. This provides a consistent centralized source of information and reduces the need for staff to spend time calling the transportation office to get an update about a bus running late. More importantly, quick access to student and vehicle data allows for rapid response and informed decision-making, even in an emergency situation. So additionally, while we enjoy celebrating that there have been so many successes with the implementation of the new TransFinder system, we also understand that implementation is a continuous process. We are nowhere near done with our work. We remain fully committed to the continuous improvement of the transportation services provided to our families and our students. In addition to ongoing improvements, we also have some fun and exciting enhancements that we're preparing to implement for the added benefit from this platform. In the near future, we'll be activating and promoting additional features, such as InfoFinder. This enhancement allows parents and guardians the ability to view their address and bus route on a map. Parents can actually find their designated bus stop, visualize the route, and view school boundary maps. This brand new tool is available on the CPS now. We'll also be adding TripFinder to streamline how we handle field trips. It will enable school personnel to submit real-time electronic field trip requests quickly and easily. And TripFinder incorporates various approval stages, tracks the history of the request, and sends email notifications to keep the right people informed. And finally, Form Finder, which is an easy-to-use form creation solution within our transportation platform. CPS has just started to use this feature to quickly create and share forms in order to collect information and collect requests in just minutes. Secure and easy data entry can be done through a desktop or mobile device, keeps the request and data collection secure and in one place for our transportation department. The successful transition to TransFinder is a testament to the hard work and tireless dedication of our transportation leadership and staff. Their work has laid a solid foundation for achieving our goals of efficiency, safety, and improved customer service. We are committed to building upon this foundation, utilizing these new technologies to ensure we provide the highest level of service to our CPS community. Thank you again for your time and your continued support, and I'm happy to take any questions.
I will open to questions, and I see a couple, but I do want to take a moment to acknowledge, and I'm going to lump this together with not only this major transportation update, but also touch on our recent human resources management updates that we made with the implementation of UKG. The reality is these systems were massive, massive, complicated undertakings, and they take months and months and months to plan on the back end. But by nature of implementing one of these systems, honestly, the lion's share of the actual go time happens in a very short window at the end of the summer in order to be ready for the rollout of a school year. Often we get the growing pains of, the discomfort of a bumpy transition with whatever a system might be like that. But the reality is trying to do it mid-school year when everyone is already in the building would be exponentially more complicated. And so we certainly give a lot of credit to our staff who take on a lot of these two major transitions that we did this year and getting through the bumpiness. And the reality is, with such huge changes that were made that were long past due and needed, and how this has taken us several steps forward, all things considered, you expect a transition like this to be a little bit bumpy. And honestly, I think things went fantastically, and that is a testament to both your staff, the transportation staff, and our HR staffs with regards to UKG, that certainly taking on all of this at the same time with the launch of a school year, I could see it being so much infinitely more challenging. And again, we expect bumps in a road when you take on a whole new system like that, but there is no better time to do it. There is no good time to do it. And our systems were, in the past, being obsolete, and it was required. And all things considered, I think things are looking great, and we would like to thank your team and the others that I mentioned as well. I think I saw a question from Mr. Stoller.
I was just going to echo what you said. That was a huge undertaking for taking on two forms of software there. I know at the beginning of the year it was a little confusing for a lot of bus drivers, and I was going to ask you, has there been like more of an improvement? More, I guess a lot of them were saying they were a little lost on the on the app or on the software, and I think there's some improvement on that.
Yeah, I think whenever you have a large platform implementation, different people learn technology and solutions like that at different rates. Yeah. The one thing that we're definitely going to give all of our bus drivers, who we highly value, is kindness and patience, and if they need the support, we're going to provide it for them. I do feel like the rhythm right now is a healthy one. It's people are using the solution the way that it's intended to be used, and I think the perceived experience is that it's providing value. At first, it feels like one more thing, right? Anytime you bring in a new system, it always feels like one more thing. But right now, the feedback and the data that we're getting suggests that the usage is really high. I'd say it being used with fidelity across our transportation department. And the number of concerns that we're hearing from bus drivers about what they can or can't do, or what they are or aren't able to do, has decreased precipitously.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that, because I know at the beginning of the year, of course, beginning of any year, whenever you have that many bus drivers out there on the road, the beginning of school day is very confusing and very overwhelming for a lot. So I know it was very overwhelming at the time, but it's good to hear that we're having some progression and I guess support for the bus drivers. So that sounds like it's working very well.
And I didn't introduce at the beginning, but I do want to introduce Dr. David Benson, who's our Director for Transportation and does a great job with his whole team and making sure that our bus drivers are supported. And Ms. Chair Swiger, to your point, Audrey Conrad, who's kind of a unsung hero in all of this, she's a technical project manager for us. So her work is just invaluable in getting this to where it needed to get to so that it was working before we opened up school and that we were hitting the milestones along the way. So I can't express enough how much we value our project managers and the importance that they do with these large system implementations.
Mr. McCormick?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say thank you. I know we've been talking about this for several years now, and I know there's a lot of families that have been asking for a way to keep in touch with their children when they're getting on the bus, when they're getting off the bus, you know, when they're changing buses, and this has been a big work in progress. And so I know, I just want to say I appreciate it as a CBS parent that uses the bus system every single day. It's been great. I've had great feedback from friends and you know, people in the neighborhood and at the same school that they love this app. So to the extent that, you know, I know it's tough being a bus driver and it's tough taking on new things. We appreciate you. We've had great bus drivers, every single one of them. They're amazing. And asking something else is sometimes hard to do when you already have a tough job. But this is, you know, as a parent to the bus drivers, you know, please buy into this as fully as you can, because this is great for us, it's great for the families, it's good for the kids, and we really appreciate it. So thank you, Dr. Faust, Dr. Benson, to the team at Transportation for putting this together. It's been great, and look forward to seeing it continue to work well.
Thank you.
I think I see no additional questions at this time. Thank you, Dr. Faust.
Thank you.
We have no items on our action agenda this evening, so we will move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Cotton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just had a few announcements this evening. We have several recognitions happening this month. October is Disability History Awareness Month and Bullying Prevention Month. We'll also be recognizing National School Lunch Week, October 13th through the 17th, and National School Bus Safety Week. Perfect, Dr. Benson, that you're here this evening. October 20th through the 24th, and during which time we'll highlight our amazing school nutrition staff and our student transportation employees. So just wanted to point those out. With that, I'll move on to my spotlight for this evening. It's hard to believe that we are already an entire month into the school year. There have been some amazing things taking place in Chesapeake throughout the first month of school, and I'm excited to share more of them with you tonight. Last week, Great Bridge High School hosted its first Bridge Bites Day of the Year. Bridge Bites is a student-led shop operated by a group of exceptional learning students. In their store, they work together to take and fill orders from the student body, learn skills required to operate the store, and dance to their favorite music, of course. The Wildcats were excited to see Bridge Bites return for the first time this year and heard that the line was out the door on multiple occasions. Well done to Great Bridge and everyone involved with Bridge Bites for making this amazing student-led experience possible. I'm going to make sure I go by to visit. More of our student leaders were in the spotlight recently as representatives from each of our 7 high school student councils gathered at SAB here in this building to connect and collaborate. They connected with district and school leaders to talk about important issues for students. In addition, the group got to collaborate with each other to talk about different events and programs that were going on at their schools. I always enjoy seeing our students lead, and I know that their efforts will pay off as they work to positively impact their schools and communities this year. Just as a reminder, I do meet with the Student Council monthly, and that's a great group to meet with. Students from Grassville High School made a meaningful connection with the community as a continuation of their partnership with the Gary Sinise Foundation. In my last spotlight, I shared their field trip to the 9/11 Memorial site sponsored by the foundation, and last week the Grizzlies joined the Sinise Foundation to unveil a specially adapted home for wounded U.S. Navy Commander Robert Ballard. The Ballards live in Chesapeake, and their children attend Chesapeake Public Schools. Members of the Grassville JROTC participated by presenting the colors and singing the national anthem. Senior government students also lined the street with red, white, and blue to mark the occasion. Thank you to the Gary Sinise Foundation for giving our students the opportunity to participate in such an amazing project. And thank you to the Grizzlies for stepping outside of your school to help your community. While the Grizzlies were stepping outside of school, I was stepping back into the classroom. I had the opportunity to return to my teaching roots last week when I presented a session about school safety and the law at the Chesapeake Career Center criminal justice students, as well as the 911 dispatch students as well. Our session was dedicated to understanding why safety matters in our schools and giving our students an advanced look at the safety initiatives that we have in place throughout the district. Criminal justice is one of many programs offered at the Chesapeake Career Center, and our rising 10th through 12th graders have the opportunity to apply for next school year. To learn more about the Chesapeake Career Center and its offerings, come out to experience CCC, our Career Center, at the Career Center actually, on October 15th from 5 to 7, or Envision at the Chesapeake Conference Center on October 22nd from 6 to 8. Thank you to Dr. Kitchens and everyone at the Chesapeake Career Center for inviting me in and allowing me to teach such an important topic to our students. And also thank you for not putting me between a dog that does tricks and a bunch of vehicles outside. That was much more interesting than me last year, but this year I luckily got to start off the day. So Rock Your School Day, while I was having fun teaching the students and staff at Portlock Primary, the students and staff at Portlock Primary and Western Branch Primary were having fun participating in Rock Your School Day, a spirit day that encourages everyone to dress as rock stars. As a part of the large initiative designed by Get Your Teach On, Mr. Sloan, Mrs. Napier, and their staffs put on the event to bring excitement and enthusiasm into the classroom. Seeing pictures of the students and staff in their outfits was fun, and I can't imagine how excited the kids were to see their teachers dress up with them. Thank you to Portlock and Western Branch for continuing to engage everyone in a creative and energetic way. Take a look at the way Portlock celebrated this year. I believe that was Principal Wade Sloan. I think that was a good one. Those are my people from the 80s. Yes, Miss Scott, I was alive in the 80s. Speaking of rock stars, I wanted to close tonight by congratulating one of our own, Dr. Fallon Graham, who was selected as the winner of the Virginia Educational Research Association's Distinguished Paper Award for her paper entitled Locus of Control and Strategic Planning Among Virginia Public School Principals. And she's here tonight, which is exciting. The award is given annually to the outstanding paper presented at the yearly VERA Conference, and the winner is invited to present at the American Education Research Association National Conference. I'm pleased to share that Dr. Graham will be presenting her paper at the conference in Los Angeles in April. Congratulations on this honor, Dr. Graham, and thank you for representing Chesapeake Public Schools at an exceptional level. I'm sure she loved that, but this completes my report. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. This completes my spotlight for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Cotton, and congratulations, Dr. Graham. Last on our agenda this evening is board member items. Does any board member have an item to bring before the group? I see Ms. Scott.
Yes, I just want to wish a very happy 29th birthday to our chair, Angie Swigert. She looks amazing. So happy birthday, Ms. Swigert. We hope that you enjoy your special day. And I was just going to give another shout out to the Grizzlies. I absolutely love what you did with the Gary Sinise Foundation, and I just want to express my sincere appreciation for the Ballard family for your service and sacrifice to the land that I love. You are very much appreciated, and thank you so much. So job well done.
Couldn't have said it any better. I see no additional board member items this evening, so with that, we will call this meeting adjourned.